Hey everyone. Sorry if you were staring at me for a good minute there. It sort of starts up until I have everything running. So my fault and like basically it's gonna look like I don't know when to start talking and know when to start my stream every time I start the stream. So I figure I may as well start being honest with you guys. Pretty much every time I start the stream, it's already started by the time I'm in the studio, like YouTube's studio thing. XSplit just sort of starts it. I've changed this a million times, and it's never pretty much never worked. So just so you guys know, like if you see that happen, and I'm just sitting there, it's the sort of thing where I've started it, but I really haven't started the stream, to be honest with you. So anyway, welcome to the stream today, and we're gonna talk kung fu today. We're gonna talk martial arts today, and you'll have to excuse me because I did not eat yet, so I'm gonna eat some ramen if that's okay. And we're gonna talk a little bit. We're gonna react to some of we're gonna react to some of my own stuff from like forever ago. And we're gonna talk about maybe talk through comments or something too. But anyway, as you notice, we have a couple of pictures there. The one right up here, um, that's just me like right in the middle of the school, and then to the other side, to the right there, you can see um, my school, and that's the school that I used to run and taught at, just every day that it was open. I owned it. I ran it eventually. Um, it was passed on to me. So originally, when it opened, somebody else owned it, and then my instructor who owned it passed it on to me. So that's what happened with the ownership there. Give me a sec here. I have not eaten really anything. I don't know why I guess I don't really need a headset for what we're doing. I don't really need one. So let's watch this. Pull this up on the screen. There's a couple of things I want to talk about from like old content and new content and stuff like that. Okay. So let's bring this. There it is. There it is. All right, I gotta bring this up in the window for you guys. I finally have it up. That's the sort of thing where like YouTube just sometimes it's a real challenge to even play my own video. It's been really weird lately. Okay. So, this is something that I had planned to finish. It was a work in progress. It is something that I didn't finish. Um, I was putting together. I was putting together basically just my own form that I was going to teach. That this was supposed to be. This was supposed to be that that sort of thing for people that wanted to know, obtain the knowledge and know how to be a really good kicker, but with kung fu. Because there really isn't, like, a lot of, like, we talk about kickboxing and Muay Thai and stuff like that. It's very, some of that, a lot of that stuff's very linear. And so I thought it was really cool to, try to, maybe put something together that showed, the kung fu side of things, maybe based just sort of the bigger picture on kicking and how it works and how you can use it. And this is an advanced level form. So realize that there might be some things in this where it's like you're watching this and it's like, what was he doing? Why is he doing that? It looks a little goofy. We're going to talk about that. So yeah, this was 11 years ago. So let's read the description here. It says, this is an advanced kicking form that I am putting together. It will contain elements of Kung Fu, Muay Thai, Monkey, Crane, Dragon, and possibly more. Keep in mind that this form is nowhere near done, and that the current movements will be perfected more before I complete the form. Thank you and enjoy what I've put together so far. So I didn't finish it. Yeah. This was, I think I was still working on this when I still had the school. And I was, really heavy into my own training and improving myself past that point even further. So the next step then would to be, make my own style, make my own thing. And, I was always a kicker. I was always natural at that, so why not go with that, right? So, with that being said, let's watch this. Okay, so the funny thing is I'm not even doing it that fast. I'm actually sort of doing this so that I can watch it back later and remember it. I can tell. I'm sort of doing it that way. Let's see. Let's break this down. So that's you're blocking a kick with that. That's what we're doing there. Probably a rib to low kick, like a knee shot or a rib shot, something to that effect. That's that first initial block. And then we're coming up through the middle. Oh, okay, I see. And driving the knee straight into the solar plexus, chest, sort of, not the stomach really, but to drive him back. Sort of, see how I'm sort of jumping there? That's what we're doing there. We're really, really driving them back there. I'll make this bigger for you guys. Sorry. So again, that's a kick block right there, and then we're driving back with the knee. Okay, so that was kind of low. What was that? That's why I do it. That's why I'm doing it slow, because I don't remember even what I was doing with this one. Okay, I know exactly what that was. That's intentionally low. I'm trying to think of what I was... Oh. Yeah. So this is actually way worse than it looks. It looks intentionally, it looks like a I can't kick high, but then you see that's not the case later. This is a knee. Hold on. That's a knee. All right, so the first front kick there. Do you guys remember front thrust kick? In I showed you guys that in that one video that we did. It's basically that Sparta kick. That's what I call it. Um, and then people were asking about that. You know, what part of the foot are you kicking with and all that. Same kick, but we're doing it to the knee. This is actually a side kick here, but it's sort of like a half side kick. It's just like real quick. It snaps. So the knee will like basically as they're moving forward, if you do that front thrust kick to the knee, it's sort of a break. It could be easily. I mean, it's your leg, their momentum against it. It's pretty easy to do. If you don't get the break, the idea is that it still doppels them forward a little bit as you hit that knee. So you shift them in the hip with that second kick, and that's what I'm doing there. So you're shifting the hip. So first kick sets up the knee. They sort of do this weird thing. Second kick slammed into the hip a little bit further up, and then that really shifts them over. That's the kicking them in the hip. That is gonna sort of jut them over a little bit, especially after that first setup. And then we spin and kick there, and then that's why that kick is actually low. Because if they're jutting over, it actually would be. It's the sort of thing is it's actually not a back thrust. It's sort of like a heel kick to the side of their head or something as they're doppled over. The idea is that this was a work in progress, and I think this kick was the one I was thinking as I was going to change to an axe kick. Yeah, I was probably thinking more axe kick. It's just that I already had one there. So I'll do two. Yeah, that's fine. This is in forms a lot. Repetitive movement, especially stylistic forms. You know, you don't just have a whole bunch of nonsense. The idea is to teach people mastering through repetition. So anyway, this is the one that's going to seem goofy. It's supposed to be. This is like monkey. This is the sort of thing where like I'm bending over because somebody's like attacking me from behind. And as they attack me, I bend over and my heel sort of goes straight up into their arm. It just sort of sets their arm straight up into the air. See how I then use that and pivot and jump to do that kick? Now I'm going to push them back with my foot. Jump, do that kick to push them back. So that's the idea is this is actually like I feel somebody behind me. I did not catch it in time. And that was the whole point was because I'm somebody that understands that a martial artist is going to get hit in a fight. Yeah, I'm a realist, you know. So the idea is that when you have your back turned, you feel that strike and you go with it. And you just sort of fall down, kind of put your hands there and then put your heel straight up into their arm, rib cage, whatever. But the idea is I'm looking through my own legs to see where I can put my target, my heel. And then so as you look through your legs, the heel goes in place, sets up the arm, you pivot, jump, wham, drive them back, and then go for a nice finisher axe kick. Because the idea is that they're probably standing straight up. So the idea is that if they're standing straight up, trying to like sort of move back a bit, I just bring an axe kick straight down on the top of the shoulder blade. So this is after that. Look at that. After that, yeah, look at how high that kick is. In reality, if you're doing an axe kick right, it's gonna go way over your head because the idea is it's sort of it's one of those kicks where like you don't want to have to work to pull it down. You want your own flexibility, like you want the tension of your muscle to just yank that leg down. So it's got to go way up. It's like a rubber band. It should be like a rubber band. Bam. Now, that is the sort of thing where... Do you guys remember the escape that we did off the shoulder, off the grabbing of the shirt, where we shot the arm down in and twisted the shoulder. So when we do that, when we do this particular one, I was just noticing no one's in here. I was wondering like if you guys can see my live or not. Oh, I know why. I fixed it. Stupid thing. Oh, sorry. Got a little distracted. So if you guys remember the escape that we did off of that, yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure it was good. YouTube's weird. Anyway, it's similar in the sense that when you turn around and jerk your shoulder like that, it'll sort of pull. It'll sort of kind of their hands will kind of go with it. So if they're kind of grabbing like onto your shoulders or your shirt from behind like this on both sides, you just kind of twist and turn, and then you put your hands inside theirs. It's not like, you know, you're pulling them up opposite directions. It kind of looks like that. And I think that's what people think sometimes when I explain that one in class. Some of the times I've explained it, you know, just based on the way I've seen people try to do it. But like, no, you literally just turn, you jerk that shoulder, turn, and then you're parting the hands. And if you're doing it correctly with the turn, your own turn and momentum and shirt and everything will just help you pull those hands off, and you'll get that. It's not something that's easy to necessarily understand, and if you don't have the conditioning and the animals and the years of training doing it, it won't look as smooth like that. I really could do it like that. It's the sort of thing where, like, you know, you just like you saw me pull escape out of that one hold. So anyway, after we pull, so yeah, we part the hands. We're gonna kick the groin. That's we call that a front snap. So you are kicking with the top part of your foot there, but you're kicking with like not the toes, the actual foot itself, more toward the ankle. That makes sense. More toward the ankle. It is basically the ankle, but not the ankle. That makes sense. It's almost the ankle, but definitely still the top of the foot. Basically, when you kick the groin, the toes should be behind, if that makes sense. So yeah, snap. And then that right there, that's actually a head grab. You can do it to the shirt. I'm grabbing the head there, let's be honest. Toss. This is how animals work. That's straight out of tiger or leopard. I don't want to go into too much detail with that one because this is the stuff that will be like member only stuff that will be more like we go into more detail about that. Just because of the how do I say this without YouTube? The seriousness of how good the technique is. Does that make sense? I feel like that should make sense. The certain, like, I can't even, certain words. Yeah, so break the hold, kick the groin, and then they're sort of gonna, their head might come forward a little bit, and either way they're gonna shift back, and their head's gonna come forward. You're just gonna grab the head. And if their head doesn't, then you grab the shirt and hook the leg, but slam. And then we have that same thing that we saw earlier again, where we're kicking up, looking down to set the arm a certain way or set the body a certain way, and then jumping to follow up with that back thrust to knock them back. And then that's where we finished that one. I didn't, like I said, that was an incomplete one. Yeah, I could tell the way I just stood there. That was going to be the end of that one. So, I'm actually pretty happy with how that looks. Like I said, I would probably just, if I was updating it, I would change that one kick to an axe kick. The one that follows this. Oh no, that is an axe kick. What was it? That. Yeah, that... I'm gonna change that to an axe kick, I think. That. Right there. I think that was me not sure what I was wanting to do. I think that's actually why I threw my hand up. It almost looks like I'm doing... Alright, so we call this a horse heel. You're literally just grabbing the head and putting it into your heel. And the hilarious thing is, people think it doesn't work, and then you do it to them. I've had so many people laugh at this technique. And they're like, ha ha ha, it won't work. And I'm like, throw a punch. And it's really funny when it works, because then they laughed the first time. Now I get to laugh when it when it worked, and it really was as simple as it's just all how you set it up. It's all how you do it. Obviously, I'm not gonna give you guys the setups a lot of times on the streams, because that's the martial art. You gotta learn that. If you want to learn it from me, that's a little different. Like I said, sometimes in the member streams, we're probably going to get into that stuff. Once we get to that point. That is the point. Eventually. I know, I'm eating. I am sorry. I hope that doesn't bother anybody. I know some people like it. It's a little weird. I know when I'm watching somebody and they need to eat, it doesn't really bother me. Usually makes me hungry. As long as they don't got it like all over their face or anything like that. Does anybody, you guys watch these guys that like, that's like their content? They sit there and they make like just all this food and then just eat all of it. Just it's so gross. The one guy cries while he does it. That makes it grosser. Is that a word, grosser? Technically, gross is slang anyway, right? So, yeah, sure, why not? It is now. So, a lot of this stuff that you guys see, a lot of this footage, I was in my late 20s. Yeah. And now I'm in my late 30s. It's just a little bit different. Yeah, it's a little bit different now. The funny thing is, like, this is like me slowing it down. I'm sure you guys have seen the fast stuff. I was to a point where I actually, like, I had to not do fast stuff. I really wish I would have had the digital camera technology we have today back then. Because I was so fast, the cameras could not pick up my hands. It was actually annoying. So I had to not do things like chain punches and like that's why like that one what's the one way to fight? Was it Snow Tiger? This one.
This Black Friday, get
This one. I didn't even see this. So with this video, this was like a lot. This was me doing Tiger in the Snow, and a lot of those clips in that one video are from this. So as you can see, a little bit different. Yeah, that's Tiger. Now, here's what I want you guys to see. When I did this kick in slow motion here, this is called resetting the foot. See how a little hop there? The reason in this case that's okay is because if you stay too firm and you don't have a little bit of looseness while you're in snow or something that surrounds your foot like this, when you go to do this kick, whatever is underneath the tread of your shoe will just yank you straight out. All of this stuff surrounding you will help it too. So you have to consider the physics of your own foot on the terrain. And so the way I had to do this a lot of times when I was in the snow was I had to do these things where I was kicking and resetting halfway in between the kick. So that's why I actually did these in slow motion here. If you'll see this kick, what I'm doing is I do that riff and I do the kick, but I do that sort of little slight hop halfway through the kick to reset. Right there. It's literally just because my foot is angled incorrectly because of the snow, and I feel it slipping because of the snow. So I shift it to readjust it to finish off the kick. It's called good balance. It's called training. That's the point, is that in the snow it won't be perfect. It'll look really dumb sometimes. But, you know, the idea is you can readjust and break it down and show that. I really wish that I would have done that. And that I had all of this stuff to have done that at the time. I should have just been breaking it down and talking about it, you know? So that's actually pretty slow for me. I'm slowing that down there. Yeah, I love that. I can't help it. Let's see it again. Oh, this is the part I took. Remember this part? That's my point. Look how fast my hands are. Oh, and a lot of times they were too fast for the cameras at the time. This was pretty good though. Picking it up. Oh, we're going super fast there. Yeah, that was some, and that was some tiger box in there at the end. So you know, basically just showing how you can use animal styles to box with them too, instead of just staying low all the time. You can. That's what you're supposed to do, really. You know, it's all about strategy and how you use the animal to trick the other person. Yeah, it's sort of like you guys, you know, capoeira. You know, the Brazilian artist dance fighting. Everybody sort of recognizes that when they see it. A lot of times they forget the name. I think it's like monkey or something. Capoeira is actually based on monkey, drunken, and stuff like that. And I knew somebody that knew capoeira pretty well. He looked very good at doing it. And then I sparred him, and he was, you know, like the big ego type of guy. He was a friend for a long time. You know, I just sort of lost contact with him over the years. I don't know what happened to him, but to be honest with you, I just don't. Um, but I used to spar him, and the first time, basically, he wanted me to. He was like, "No, just use Tiger, use all of it." I'm like, "Are you sure?" Like, he's like, "Yeah." I was like, I was really just gonna, you know, sort of just react to whatever you threw at me, and he's like, "No, no, definitely use your Tiger," and it like he even kind of like laughed a bit. It's like, okay. And yeah, it was the sort of thing where like he was doing his little he kept doing this thing where he would like jump to the side and like fling his hands out in front of me, and I'm like, I knew what he was doing. So I just sort of stood there, didn't move my eyes at all, just picked my focal point like I always do, and you know, did the correct things and didn't react, and like that's the point, is like he's trying to set me up. So I just don't react. And yeah, that's like a lot of times what throws people off is I will just literally stand there and move around as you move around. A lot of times I don't even have my guard up because I want you to know even what my guard is. I'll do this if I want to put my hands up. You know, if I think if I think your hands are fast, all right, I'll at least do that. But and so like eventually he got tired of waiting, and so he starts like doing these things where he does like this cartwheel axe kick thing. And so just like I just like back up, and I'm just like, what is that your axe kick? And then so like he stops and he's like, yeah, it's an axe kick. It's like you do, but you know, it's like I'm like, it's a cartwheel. Yeah, 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 it's a cartwheel. I'm like, yeah, I can see it coming a mile away. I'm just letting you know. And I don't know if like I don't know, maybe he felt insulted or whatever, but he kept like getting a little bit more aggressive then with his fighting after that. So that now he was doing his now he was doing this like beside me. So I kept turning my body to the side so he wouldn't do it like right in front of me anymore. So he'd get the hint that like you should probably do something else before I, you know. And instead he started doing the cartwheels to like the side. And so so I'm like, okay, if you want me to use Tiger. So the moment he does this to the side, to like the side of me, the first thing I do is take my Tiger claws and I just slam them straight into one lower torso to let him know I could have grabbed the groin. And then one just, you know, near the neck right up here, and I just grabbed him out of the air and threw him down on the floor. And then he just kind of got up, and he was like, "What was that?" And I was like, "Well, it's just tiger claws." But like you were already moving, so I just kind of went with it. So like the point is like he's just doing all this wasted movement, and it helped me. And he's just like getting tired too. And so yeah, like he's all out of breath, and I'm just standing there. And so at this point, yeah, like he spars me again, but I think he has an appreciation for it. But then again, he starts doing the same thing. So now this time, before he even gets it off, I just start kicking him. I make it obvious. I just start kicking him in the stomach, and he just falls over. So it's the sort of thing where he immediately realizes the gap in our skill level, and also immediately realizes how nonsense that type of thing is. That it might fool somebody who is maybe new to martial arts or something like that, but it's not really for serious. In my opinion, it's just really not for serious. And if it is, you're probably going to be doing other things with it. You probably learned other martial arts. Now you're going to use this to hide that other martial arts. That makes more sense because capoeira doesn't. That's my point. It didn't have much into it except the things that were just getting them knocked over. Which brings me to sort of what I wanted to talk about is like a lot of styles over the years I feel like have existed and kept existing and came out of nowhere because a martial artist finally understood a concept. Yeah, he spent all these years having bad instructors or something like that, or just people, no, I shouldn't say bad, but like people that are subpar that really shouldn't have probably been instructors, but they did anyway. And it's the sort of thing where maybe not head instructor, maybe they should have been this or that, and instead they passed down this knowledge because they were just in that position and not a very good instructor. And so years later, finally, these folks that could have had good instructors that could have had explained this sooner so that they learned it from them instead of having some great epiphany later down the line and then letting their ego get the best of them and thinking that, oh yeah, this concept is everything. I will start a martial art based on this concept because nobody gets this. I assure you, plenty of people get it, and the point is that you went through all of that to get it. So you don't get it. So that's why, like, when like, like, for example, Jeet Kune Do or something like that, Bruce Lee himself said that style was, the concept was to enhance one's own martial arts. It was not supposed to be taken as something that is like the end all be all, that this is the martial art. No. And a lot of people think that too. Oh, it's Bruce Lee's style. It doesn't, that's not the point. He developed it to enhance the style of like the wushu and the Shaolin and stuff for some of these guys that maybe were monks and stuff like that wanted to learn it the way he was doing it. Does that make sense? Because the point was that it was working for him, and it was tricking some of even the best. And so why not add that to the repertoire? Why not, do that? And that's the point. The point isn't to extrapolate part of the style and then go and try and teach that and say that this is the martial art and it's everything. No, because that's a lot of martial arts, a lot of the history of it, especially involving America and the way Americans think, unfortunately. How many times, throughout history do Americans want something faster, easier, more convenient? And in reality, you're dumbing down quality. You're getting lesser and lesser quality out of that. Now technology has improved those things, but then history repeats itself and we get back to where we started again. So at some point, that's my point, and that's the point I want to make here, is just that if you see if you recognize a martial art like a school or something like that, and it just says that, or something like that. Don't go in there expecting to learn that style to defend yourself. And thinking that's going to be something that's going to help you defend yourself and teach you the utmost of self-defense, because it's not. It really isn't. Doing stuff like that, especially stylistic martial arts like that, was intended for upper. So like capoeira was originally designed. I hate to say it, but for the certain industry I don't really want to talk about. It's a criminal industry where basically that was the point, where these people were dancers for the people that owned them, and that was the point, was that they had to pretend to be dancers and eventually try to get out of that situation by learning martial arts through dance. And that was the whole point, was that it was supposed to look like dance so they could hide the fact they were learning martial arts. That was the point. That was originally why that was developed. There's a lot of martial arts over the years that was developed for reasons of kind of like that, and so that was the point, is that these folks were already pretty hardened, maybe had learned lots of martial arts previously, or just lived in a different atmosphere where it was easier for them to. Well, they were, if they were dancers, that was the whole point. Was it, I mean, geez, think about how athletic you are, to dance all the time. So, yeah, and that made it easy to hide. So that was the point behind that. And it's like any of the great actual good martial arts styles over the years, we date those back, to people that were, man, really respectable. That's the point. Just top level, really good at martial arts, and had their entire heritage to prove that. Basically, just their whole line of instructors and schools and everything that then came out of what they did in their lives. And so that's the point, is that's the stuff that stayed around, and it's not something that you just randomly heard about, for the first time. It's like, well, you think about it, it's like even kung fu had a different name. It was Gong Fu, and there's actually another one too. There's several. But that's the point, is like, it didn't just start with kung fu, is it's so old. That's actually a more commonly accepted name for it too. And so that's my point, is like, a lot of the stuff was extrapolated from that, and then just sort of broken down and added on to, based on personalities and stuff like that, based on the person who was doing it. So like that's what I always talk about with like the northern and southern styles. That's why, like, with me, for example, with a tall person doing kicks and long strikes, where we're going into like deep stances and using our whole body to do it, you are going to maximize and get the best out of your martial arts experience, because that's the point, that is who that's for. That was why these were developed in the first place, was because at a certain point, the people that were developing these things realized that they needed to show things differently to people that were tall versus short. Fat versus skinny. I guess petite versus not. Like there are some that are thin and are short and stocky too. Like that could handle themselves and stuff. Just like a woman developed um Wing Chun. And that was the whole point, was to be able to use it without wasted movement. Very very quick, precise hand movements that you can do without worrying about too much. I have to lower my body. I have to use leverage. I have to shift. And no, the idea is that they don't want to rely on the upper body. The idea is that their arms are shorter and smaller, so therefore they needed to use that to their advantage instead of trying to learn things the same way that like a big dude was learning it. It doesn't make any sense. So that's the point, is like any real legitimate style a lot of times came out of need, necessity in history. And That's the point, is because it was developed under such harsh circumstances, under the need to defend one's lives, one's family, one's home, from the troops that were coming in at that time in history, whatever those troops were at the time. And some of those original styles, if that's the point, is if we showed them today and the in the American schools, you'd a lot of times I would have to change things for like teenagers and stuff, because I don't want them to go to school and use this stuff, and like that's the point, is like you have to know how to teach somebody. You can't just teach them certain things, and you can't just you got to be responsible with it. And that is the point, is that you think about what Americans typically do, like I said before, it's everything more convenient, quicker, easier. So what's the shortest way? Do you know how many times people came into school? You you can't even guess how many times. Like it's incalculable. I couldn't even tell you. So many times somebody came into the school and would actually ask me like, what is the quickest way that I can beat somebody up? They're dead serious too, like dead serious. And I'm just like, you really think that's the best way to come into a martial arts school and try to learn? Like, you really think that's the best way to do that? It was so often. And it's like, you bet. I try really hard not to be rude, because, you never know if somebody's just testing you. They're just trying to like see how good you are, like trying to see about your character or something, just whatever. So I try to play it a certain way, but sometimes it's like, man, where do you come from? Like, why? Because like sometimes they're actually asking that. So yeah, I always have to deal with them a certain way, obviously, because I don't want somebody coming in harming a student just because he thinks like that, and B, coming in learning something he probably didn't learn from me and saw somebody doing. Now he's gonna take that and try to do it to his buddy and get injured or something like that. And like most of the time, if you don't know how to do martial arts properly and you see something really advanced, some of the stuff that I'm doing, and you're trying to do that, and it's more advanced, and you're just trying to like replicate it, and you don't have the training yet and you don't know what you're doing, you really can get hurt. You really can. And Yeah, I've seen it happen, especially with some of the folks that like used to see me doing monkey and stuff, and that's why like certain times I just had to stop doing it. They're throwing myself on the floor like flat out, just literally flat out on the floor sometimes for that form. So like you can't. You can't do it around certain people, and some people just are not mature enough to handle that. And they shouldn't be in the school anyway. That's the point. If they can't handle that stuff, seeing that stuff, that's the point. So a lot of the folks that I've met over the years that take and do martial arts, that's truthfully it. A lot of them really do not have the maturity level to handle it. And they think brute force always wins. They think the biggest guy always wins because that's typically what happens in the sport. UFC, like things like that. A lot of times, well, boxing really. A lot of times when you just have that bigger guy, he's got bigger arms and he can take more hits. And it's because he's bigger. And this is what these guys think that well, that's just how it works. And I mean, while I agree that that's the case, that has worked like that a lot of times, that's not why. Yeah, it's not because they're better, just because they're bigger, stronger. No, that's not why. It's because most Americans. Now, notice how I say Americans, because it's usually a foreign guy that ends up beating them, right? That's the freaking point. Most Americans want the shortcut. That's the point. They don't want to learn, all of the extra skill sets. They don't want to put the time in required for the knowledge to actually beat the guy, to actually begin to understand how to beat him. All they want to do is just be like, oh, I'll just get lighter. I'll just lose some pounds and go into lightweight class, and then win. That's you know how many times I heard that out of a guy in like high school. And so like that's the point, is like when people think that way and that's how they think. I didn't want any part of like competing and like that whole world. It's like people really miss the point. And martial arts gets treated very poorly a lot of times, and disrespected by the sport martial artists that think those things, that just would never ever, that as my friend Matt says, the armchair martial artists that sit and watch the fights and stuff like that, but they didn't spend the 20 plus years to put the time in to actually do this stuff, to know, oh yeah, that's just sport versus real. Yeah, it's sort of like the best way I could compare it. Have you ever talked to a car guy that says he's a car guy, and then it's like, well, he's got a Ferrari, and he's like, this is the fastest thing on the road, or like he just says stupid things like that that like are just completely like. So first of all, if you want to go that route, technically it's probably a Koenigsegg because nobody can own one. All right, let's be honest. All right, that aside, wholly aside from the fact that like these $2 and $3 million cars exist, wholly aside from that, and living in the 22nd century and all that, and everything comes with that. Wholly aside from that, uh, yeah, like these guys will say things like that, and then meanwhile they actually think that they're lying to themselves. And then you meet a real car guy that actually knows about cars, and he's probably got some souped up truck that goes faster than that Ferrari. Like, like I'm not even making that up. Like some of these guys that do drag races. I'm not even making that up. Like seriously, watch some of these Like seriously, some of these guys that do these drag. I don't know what is in my eye right now. Something's in my eye all of a sudden. Some of these guys that do these drag races, they have cars faster than anything on the road, and that's the point. Is like, is people don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, they really don't know what they're talking about. They'll just say stupid things like "my Ferrari is the fastest," blah 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 blah, and it's like, yeah, man, it's got a nice price tag and it is pretty quick. It's probably not the fastest though. You know, like that guy that spent nearly 90 grand, you know, fixing everything around his car, you know, just everything from the ground up, and put like 90 grand into a 7 grand piece of junk. That's the guy that probably knows about cars, and his car's probably faster than the Ferrari. Because he probably tuned it that way. Because the guy that has the Ferrari doesn't even know that you can tune it that way. You know, like, that's my point, is, like, you can, like, tire pressure, tire type, height matters for acceleration. Like, everything's different, you know, acceleration versus drifting. I'm sorry, drag versus drifting. You know, like, it really matters. And, like, Ferraris, yeah, they're okay. Like that's just my analogy for, you know, guys that, you know, that's my point, is like that would actually know about martial arts, and how many guys think they know about martial arts. You know, like they're a dime a dozen. There's a ton of guys. So like that's my point, is like, I'm sure everybody has that car friend out there that they actually go to. And then when they finally go to that car friend, the car friend's like, "Let me guess. You thought it was the," you know, like they're always like rolling their eyes, and they're like, "Where did you hear this?" And then they're like, "Okay, well, you know," like that's the point, is like they're just so tired of hearing it, because they keep telling people this crap, and they're just not soaking in, you know. That's the point, is like is like, that's why those guys exist, is because it's like there's so many people out there that pretend like they know everything about that subject, and they're just so sick of hearing it. It's the same with politics, actually. That's actually a lot of the reason why there actually is so many, like, legitimately so many journalists within the past 10 years that either retired or just moved on to, like, acting roles and stuff, or something like that, because truthfully, these guys really do know a lot about like politics. Like, they really do. And there's so many people that won't even read past the headline, and that think they know more. And this is like, you could, like, political science is a thing. You can go to school for that and stuff, you know, like, I mean, come on. So like, when some of these guys actually have, you know, accreditation toward this, or, you know, like, at least did some stuff in college related to law and related to politics and things like that, and there's just a crap load of people, especially in the United States, that just pretend all the time to know what the correct answer is when it comes to politics. It really is. It's not. It, like, I really don't blame them. Like, you know, like, when they just want to get out of that, you know, because, like, that's the point, is like, why would you want to keep continuing down a cycle where, like, everybody's just gonna crap on what you say anyway, no matter how true or it is or not. Like, you just sit, like, that's the point, is like, that would take its toll on anybody. And I think that's why a lot of folks got out of it. But that's also why a lot of those guys make comedy with it. It's actually why. Because it's like that, they've understood that people are just gonna crap on it anyway. So if you report it funny, well, then they're just gonna crap on you anyway. So why not be funny about it and then just get a bigger audience being a comedian. That's the way I sort of look at martial arts sometimes. I feel like nobody takes you seriously if you like aren't that guy with like all these championship belts and like that's the sort of thing where it's like everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you have to prove that you can fight other people. We don't believe." It's like, well, I could think of hundreds of people that I've sparred over the years that would disagree with what you believe or not, but that's the point. Is it shouldn't be like this big thing where we have to like. I'm trying to say this PG. Who has the biggest whatever, pickup truck. That's my point. Is like it's not supposed to be about testosterone and all that. It's supposed to be about recognizing when somebody has done that and somebody it's about recognizing it when you do see that. And I really hope that I can get to a certain point with the channel. I don't know, like hair. Yeah, there we go. I really want to get to a certain point with the channel where I'm starting to educate some of you regulars even more on how regular it is to misinterpret martial arts and just see it incorrectly. And there's a lot of folks that do that because like that's something you go through when you learn martial arts, and I spent a lot of time learning it and breaking through those walls, and I know exactly what it feels like to to be in those positions because I went through it. So yeah, anyway, this wasn't supposed to be like a super long stream or anything like that. I really wanted to get on and react to a couple of things and start talking about martial arts, and also show you guys that I can just sit and talk and chat about martial arts. And also assure you guys that I am training daily and just being careful. That's really what it comes down to. All right, so because we're doing other things with the channel, I'm like sitting too. So you gotta understand that also takes its toll. You use muscles to sit, you also force circulation out, and it causes other issues for physical activity, believe it or not. And so reversing that a bit is taking some time. I think that's a lot of it is just that sitting down isn't the best. I always wanted a stand-up setup, but I can't afford to do that. These things cost money. I never wanted to just sit here, ever. When I was originally doing this, I was talking to people about like building a stand-up setup and looking into it, and it was super expensive to put it all together. I don't have. I have lots of. I have lots of friends. I shouldn't say lots. I have several friends that are. I have one friend that is like Probably but one of the I'd put him up there as like top 10 in the world at crafting things out of wood. I mean that's truthfully. And he's a friend of mine, and I just maybe need to talk to him about, like what I need to do. Maybe get some of his knowledge a little bit, because I'm about ready to build this thing myself. Because I just, like, I'm not. I am a very hands-on person, and I've acquired a lot of knowledge over the years, but I never really they wouldn't let me take woodshop in high school. Literally would not let me take it. Go ask my high school. I would love to know why I was not allowed to take woodshop, but all my other friends were allowed. And I spent 4 years in that place, and they kept denying me woodshop. I literally wanted it. It's like I was always so awkward with a saw, and I wanted to learn how to use one better. I knew it was just a skill. Yeah, like I knew I just had to be taught how to use one. And then like I kept getting these jobs after high school that like required me to be good with power tools, and I sucked with them. Yeah, like I was like a laborer several times. So it's like really I'm kind of pissed at my high school for doing that. Yeah, like it's a good high school, but like there was several things that I wanted that would have helped me out in life. Um Film class was one of them. They wouldn't let me take that one. And obviously I would have used that by now, that knowledge. And woodshop. And what the crazy thing is some people had to take woodshop. It's so stupid. They just wouldn't let me take it. And that's my point, is like there was this one where I was a laborer on like the back of this truck, and like I had to use a really annoyingly awkward rig where he had this he had a little handheld drill like bolted into this rig that you stand up, and it was the strangest thing, but it was I guess it was a pretty quick way of putting holes in the it was a flatbed manufacturing place. They made like flatbed trailers. So I was a laborer to just like assemble these things. And I just sucked at it. I'm like I never suck at a job. Like I always go into a job and I'm pretty good. Yeah, just I pay attention to what I need to do and I just start doing the job, and I'm not lazy by any means. If anything, I pick up after other people, and I'm that person, and so that was crazy. Like just that the public school system had failed me that poorly to just never ever allow me to use power tools after middle school ever. And they were like, well, you're taking electronics class. We what power tools are we using in electronics class? Please tell me. I would love to hear this. Please tell me, aside from a soldering pencil, what are we using? Yeah, I built like circuit boards and stuff. Like I built my own little thing. Probably have it around here. I don't know where it is, but one of those things you plug like Christmas lights into. It's like FM transmitter, and then it's basically an FM transmitter with 4 plugs. That's all it is. You plug Christmas lights into it is the idea, and then it transmits from FM and picks up it'll blink whatever you plug into it to the FM signal. So if you're playing like music or something, that's literally all it is. And that was the most complicated thing we made for the most part. Now I made a big one. Mine was like, I was pretty happy with that. But I also learned Morse code in electronics. I mean, that was fun, but like I thought it was so stupid that after like 15 years old, I just never touched a power tool in the public school system. Probably even before that, after like 14 years old. Like, that's just terrible. Yeah, never touched it. And just learning about types of wood is actually really important, useful, everyday information. It really is. Like, just learning about wood. I mean, it really is. I mean, you could learn all kinds of stuff about. Yeah, I mean, like if you know that like a wood smells a certain way, and you smell it. I don't know. That's something, right? Also termites are a thing. But just knowing about wood is important for building and so like let's say you do want to build a desk yourself and you're a moron and let's say you built it all out of pine. Well then you should probably go back to wood shop. At least I don't know. At least I'm not gonna. At least I know that, right? Yeah. Pine is the weak one, right? You know what's sad? You know why I know that? I bet you guys can guess it. It's actually the reason I know that is because that's what they use. They intentionally use the weakest wood for breakboards when I took karate. That's why, because they wanted the weakest one. When I did kung fu, we used cinder blocks. Yep, that's what we broke in kung fu. And we didn't hit them. Nope. We flat out did the relaxed tension. The idea was to bring your hand up and you let it drop. I'm not going to do it too hard. If I do it hard, I'll actually probably break something. I can still do it, as I found out recently. And it's just a shift where you're basically allowing your body to use the 100% kinetic energy, if that makes sense. Like, just no wasted energy. And a lot of it is your shoulder, as I found out, but just how that works and lines up from shoulder to elbow to wrist to hand. So flat out, we would spend hours, standing in front of a cinder block, letting our hand drop. And just, your hand's just getting red. And you're just like, why am I doing this? This hurts. And yeah, like, you spend years doing it and you just get used to it. And then I remember the first time I actually broke one. And it was hilarious because the first time I ever broke one, I was actually practicing it outside of class because I remember this was like, I really wanted to, this was the one thing that like other people, like I always kept up in class pretty well, but this is the one thing where like other people were starting to do it. And I'm starting to notice that I think they were just hitting it. So I'm like, I want to really learn this thing instead of just like saying I did it or whatever. So like I was at home and I got myself a rig, I set up the cinder blocks and I put it there. And I was in my horse stance and I'm just dropping my hand. And I'm in the basement and the funny thing is when it happened, it was when my brother was playing Soul Calibur on my Dreamcast with his friend. Because I remember it because I was watching them play. So I just thought it was funny that it was during Soul Calibur. But yeah, I was doing my breaking, and that's why. And my instructor even told me it'll probably happen when you're not paying attention. Like the very first time you lose complete focus, that's when it's going to happen. He was right. He was right. He was like, that's the point, is like all that teaches you is how to properly use muscle memory in here with relaxed tension. It's literally just building, it's a drill to build that, basically. And it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. You still can't, like, teach yourself that by understanding that concept. You still have to go through it, but, it's just how I explain it. And, yeah, that's when it happened. He was playing Soul Calibur with his friend Ray, and they were sitting there and they were playing, and I'm just dropping my hand, and I think I was even talking, and then all of a sudden my hand just goes right through it, and like my hand was bleeding because like the cinder block went in half and sliced my hand open because like I fell through, like I just was not even expecting it. And yeah, I showed him my hand and everything, and he was like, I can tell. He was like, I can tell it happened because usually, if you break it, you can pull it back, and there's really, it's usually on the other side. But I had it all marked up. It was here. So like my hand went through, and the piece just slammed into my hand right here, and cut up my hand all messed up. And I actually had to get like I had to like wash it off and stuff. I had like because the cinder block like sort of shattered it. I don't know if you've seen cinder blocks when they break. They kind of shatter into pieces a little bit, and there was like dust and stuff. Like yeah, so I had to clean it off. And yeah, I came into class. I was all happy. I was like, "There's my battle scar," and he's like, from what?" Because he does this little this funny little laugh. He was like, from what?" And and I was like, "Well, I finally broke one." And he congratulated me. He was like, "It's about time. Now it's time for the big one." That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said. It was so classic him. But yeah, like that's the point is like we in kung fu we don't break weak pieces of wood, and we don't hit things to break them. We use intelligence to over time learn how relaxed tension causes you to break cinder blocks. Yeah, it's called learning how the body actually works. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. It's a lot of it's just learning Tai Chi. Like I said, it's how Tai Chi relates to martial arts, and that's the one thing most other styles don't have in it, and most other styles think is a joke. And that's why, because they don't understand it. Believe it or not, a lot of Tai Chi, it's just elements of like brushing palm and stuff, like palm stylists, stuff like this. We have a lot of that too. I love palm strikes, flurry strikes and stuff. There's one in particular that I like to do, where you're just traveling up the arm, and then you just sort of hit the head. You can hit with a back fist, or you can travel up and sort of just palm strike. You can hit with a chop. I'm trying not to hit my mic. But a lot of it's done where like if you would have a strike like this, you would have to sort of brush to the side. So like if you ever watched like the second Ip Man movie where he's sort of kind of going like this, that's what he's doing. It's called a brushing palm, where he's using these to sort of what you're doing. You know how when you throw rocks across water, like you're just skipping rocks. It's exact same concept. You're just like Bruce Lee said, be like water. So you're doing these brush palms exactly how you would see that stone skip across that water. You're as these punches are coming at you, whatever they are. Maybe they're haymakers. Maybe they're chain straight punches. Maybe he's just sort of kind of going like this. The point is that you're really simulating the fact that it's that stone skipping across the water, and that his arm is the water. And that's that concept, and so that's the point, is understanding the relaxed tension with the palms. That's how you can get. Maybe that's actually why my palms got to the mouth. That's a good point. I didn't even consider that. Yeah, that's probably why. You guys remember how I said like at a certain point I had to stop sparring with my open hands? I really didn't punch very much either, but I was typically either using chops or elbows and then kicking only. I got to a certain point where I couldn't even just do that to somebody without seeing them like their eyes roll back. So I didn't. And we're talking full contact. They're wearing a full face shield and everything, so it's not like I'm hitting them in the face. We're talking full face coverage. So yeah, we're hitting the head, but they have the padding for it. And so yeah, like like we're all used to this though. But that's the point. Is I got to the point where even just that was enough, and so I guess that's why. Yeah, I guess when everybody else was doing this training at the school and pretending to do it, meanwhile I was at home practicing for real. Here I was just talking about that whole thing and figured it out just sitting here. This is why I love talking about this stuff. This is why another big reason I wanted to do this is because like I get on here and start talking about stuff, and it really makes me realize things that I didn't necessarily realize about myself before, didn't think about before, just because I just sitting here talking about it. And it's really cool to be on here talking about it, figuring it out with you guys live too. I think that's fun. It doesn't say that we have anybody in chat. If anybody's been talking, I can't see it. I sure hope not. What's interesting is I don't think anybody's in here at all. So weird. Oh no, we have a silent one in here. Hello. That's okay. You can be silent. That's fine. Um, I was a little concerned nobody could see the stream, but I guess you guys can see it. This is what I want to do more of, like just like Kung Fu chat where we just sit here and talk too. Obviously, we're gonna do real content. I mean, we can do stuff. Is it? I guess it's still daylight. We can do something now. You guys want me to go live? I'll go live on my phone. We can do something. Do you guys want me to? So like that's one thing I wanted to do a little bit more of. I'm trying to get organized. I'll be on a lot more regularly with this stuff. Once I get everything organized, if you know what I mean, like I'm just trying to reorganize myself and things around me to make my life easier. And so I will be doing that more once I get that done because it'll just be easier. That's why sometimes, like, if I leave the stream and take a break too, it takes me so long. Flat out, I need to be more organized. I've never been this disorganized at this point in my life as I am now, and it's messing with me. I do not like it. I hate disorganization, and I don't hate anything. Oh man, I hate disorganization. Yeah, it drives me up the wall. So like, that's yeah, that's why it's like I'll come back and then I gotta go do something again because it's like it's so disorganized. So I just gotta reorganize my life. But I wanted to get on here for a couple of kung fu streams because I just feel like that's what people want lately. We haven't been doing it, and I want to give you guys what you want. And I like you guys flat out have been asking for it too, and I just haven't been able to go outside and do stuff. Today though, I might be able to do a little bit with you on my heavy bag or something. It's not so I don't know that I'll go outside. Yeah, 49 degrees. Um we can do something on the heavy bag. I want to go live and do something with you guys. And see if I can dig up one of my old t-shirts or one of my old long sleeves from when we had the school. If you guys see that symbol behind me, we used to have these t-shirts with just that symbol like right in the middle of the shirt, and I miss that. I still I think have several of the t-shirts. I probably somewhere have a hoodie. I think I at least still have one hoodie and several long sleeve. I didn't let anybody except red and black sashes wear a black t-shirt. So it's rare to see a black one. So if you would ever see that, you have to let me know. And I'll be like, oh yeah, that's this person. Actually, that's not true. I think I started letting third brown sashes wear them because we were just not getting a lot of people that were sticking with it for that long. They were just learning a lot of knowledge and then leaving the system. It is a hard system. It is hard. If you stick with it though, it's everything. You guys want to go live on my phone? We'll do some martial arts and stuff. Maybe we can. Maybe that's what we'll do. I just feel like it's a dead period. I feel like it's Black Friday and everybody's out doing their own thing. Do. Data is inaccurate for some videos? Why? So is that why nobody's in here? What's going on with YouTube, guys? Wait, why is there... How do I have a 1 live viewer but 0 views? Yeah, something's up. I feel like it's just... This is so weird. There it is. Okay, we're actually at like a few more than 1. I think everyone's just Black Friday shopping. Let's surprise everyone. I think if we go live with some martial arts, this will surprise people. Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah, you guys want me to get my... I was gonna get my combat sword. My little foam sword. I have... Okay, so I will confirm that I have... You know, I can use swords. I cannot use them on stream. I'll just say that. I can use swords. I cannot use them on stream. On a live stream, on a video, I have to use like a foam sword. I could use a wooden one. I could do that. But yeah, like just so you guys know, that's why. But yeah, if you guys want me to go live, I'll grab my foam sword and we can do some combos on the bag. That's what I was thinking. I love you know, doing like, you know, combos with sword and coming up with drills to practice proper sword technique, and just in general, I love coming up with drills to practice proper technique and blocking and hand placement and everything, but especially sword because it's an extension of one's own hand. And you know, if you're using a single blade, a single curved blade, well, we can talk about this. This is the perfect example of how to properly use chopping. A lot of people don't even understand how a chop can be used. It's literally just the extension of a sword. So if you think about what you can do with a sword, a similar stuff can be done with a chop. You just have to do it slightly different, if that makes sense, because we don't have a blade attached to our hand. So if that makes sense. But it would still be similar. It's just an extension of your own hand. So. But anyway, yeah, for those just joining us, just coming in, again, this is my studio here that I ran, and this was after I cleaned the floors. One night after I had cleaned the floors, I had closed the school, everybody was gone, and I made a post. So that's what that picture is from. That was just to motivate people to come in to classes and stuff, just to show them, you know, the clean floors and stuff. That was right after I had cleaned the floors. And then up here, that's just a posed picture of me holding the pudao. A pudao is a smaller version of a kwando. It's basically a staff mixed with a Chinese-style broadsword on the end. So it's technically classified as a sword, actually. But you don't use it like a sword, you use it like a staff. Yep. So, learning staff before you learn that would be essential, for sure. Anyway, let's go. Let's get live. Grab our foam combat sword. I see the likes. I see the concurrence coming in here. I guess that's my cue. We're gonna get a foam sword. We're gonna go down, maybe go to the bag, and maybe work some combinations, some fun stuff. I can show you guys, and then we can talk, too. And if you guys, want to ask me anything too while we're working on stuff, feel free. That's what the Q&A. You guys can come and chat and join. I will be live soon. I'm gonna get off here, get something a little bit more comfortable on. I'm not gonna wear a big hoodie. I won't wear my uniform top for literally every single video we're doing, guys. I'm not gonna do that. But I just think that's cheesy that I would do that. Especially because I don't have that school anymore. I'm not teaching at the school anymore. But yeah, I'm gonna see if I have maybe one of my old t-shirts for sure. If I don't, then I'll just wear something comfortable. I'll see you guys soon. We'll grab the sword, head down to the bag. Have a good Black Friday for those who can't join me, and I'll see you soon.